So we are on step number 5 of our 7 steps of incorporating a whole food plant-based diet into our lifestyle. And honestly, step number 5 is going to be a little bit harder out of all the steps to making that transition. And that is because it is replacing our dairy. So things like milk, ice cream, cheese, and yogurt, you're going to replace those with plant-based options. And if you're one of those people who is thinking, there's no way I could give up my cheese, I love cheese, or I have to have that coffee creamer every morning, you're not alone. And it's not your fault. Dairy is actually incredibly addictive. It has something in it called casein, and that actually attaches to the same receptors in our brain as what heroin does. So it kind of hits that pleasure center and keeps us wanting more. So you have a little bit of cheese and you just keep going back for more and more and more. So honestly, dairy just does not do anything for us. 85% of the world is lactose intolerant. And that can be anything from digestion issues, gas, bloating, feeling uncomfortable, to asthma. So it comes out in different ways in different people. It also, one of the misconceptions is that we need to have our dairy in order to get enough calcium. And that is just not true. That's not the type of calcium that we need for our bodies. And actually, the more dairy that we take in, it actually takes more calcium out of our bones because dairy is very acidic and our body has to regulate our pH level. So in order to do that, it pulls calcium from our bones so that it can regulate the pH when we drink milk. So the more milk you drink, the more fragile your bones are actually going to be. So some really good alternatives. As far as milk goes, plant-based milks are wonderful. So those are going to be your almond milk, your soy milk, hemp milk, cashew milk, coconut milk. And what you want to do is kind of try to look for the ones that are unsweetened. So instead of getting anything with an added sugar, just get an unsweetened one. So that's a pretty easy switch to make. As far as ice cream goes, so you could make your own ice cream at home. You can freeze bananas, avocados, any sort of fruit like that, and make your own ice cream. There's some alternatives there. Put it in a blender. Not quite the same taste and texture as a regular ice cream. Every once in a while, I do have the vegan ice creams. They are wonderful. They actually taste better than some regular ice creams. So as a treat, every once in a while it does hit the spot. They are highly processed, full of sugar, full of fat. But again, as a treat, every once in a while, it's a good alternative. As far as cheese goes, I'll be honest with you, nothing substitutes cheese. There's just nothing that compares to cheese, but after a while, once you take cheese out of your life, you won't miss it. You don't crave it any longer. So you will get to that point, but there are some alternatives that you can use in place of cheese. One of them is going to be your cashews. That's a wonderful plant-based option. They make great cheese. And actually, you can make a wonderful Alfredo sauce. You can make sour cream with it. Sometimes I'll just make a cashew cheese and put that on my pizza instead of like a mozzarella cheese. And it's so simple with the cashews. All you have to do is soak them in some hot water to get them soft enough to blend up. And you can either add your plant milk or your water, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of lemon juice, depending on what type of cheese you're making. And it's wonderful. It tastes fantastic. So that's a really good alternative for that. Another option is actually hummus. If you're making something like a quesadilla, oddly enough, if you use a tortilla and you just kind of spread some hummus on it and add your veggies and then fold it over, put it in the oven and bake it. When it's warm, hummus kind of has that taste and texture, a little bit like cheese when you're eating a normal quesadilla. So that's a good option too. There's a ton of vegan cheeses out there. Again, highly processed, full of fat, full of sodium. Every once in a while, I will use them. They honestly just don't taste that great. There's a couple of nut cheeses that are on the market that are pretty good. So again, you're going back to more of like the natural nuts. You just have to be careful. They are high in fat, so you don't want to overdo it with them. And they do tend to be a little bit more expensive, but those are pretty good. So those are my tips on trying to make the transition to dairy. Just give it time. Go easy on yourself. You probably will end up going back to dairy in between, but eventually you won't want the taste of it any longer. My tip for today is to always keep a snack with you. So one of the things that you'll find in making this transition is that you're actually probably going to end up being a lot hungrier than what you were before. And it's because you're eating different types of foods. So, and you're also boosting your metabolism at the same time. So your body's wanting more food. So always keep something on hand, whether you're at work or in the car, instead of making those choices like going to the fast food drive-thrus or whatnot. This is so much easier if you have a snack ready in there. You can make your own trail mix. Just have some fresh vegetables cut up or fresh fruit with you, whatever it may be, a granola bar. The Lara bars are all natural. Those are really good option. That's It. There's granola bars like that are called That's It. There's only literally fruit in it. So there are some whole food options that are some good snacks that you kind of just can take with you. So that's my recommendation. Always have something with you so that you don't go hungry. And that way too, sometimes you can get lightheaded if you're really hungry, if you're one of those types of people that needs to eat every couple of hours. It's a good idea to keep something on hand. You can do nuts as long as you're not sitting there eating a whole container of nuts. Maybe like a quarter cup of nuts a day. That's about what you would want to do. So that's a good idea too. So I will see you tomorrow for step number 6. Thanks.